Hello and welcome to another edition of Cranky Gun Reviews. This is another installment in my series on why did I want this gun. The gun we're looking at today is a vintage model. It is a Sears Model 54. Now the Sears Model 54 was actually made by Winchester, and it is a pretty close copy of the Winchester 1894. The caliber on this rifle is .30-30 Winchester, which is a rimmed cartridge, a true cowboy classic action load. Now you can tell that although Winchester made this patterned after the 1894, it's not an exact copy of the 1894. The wood on the stock and the foregrip is not quite as nice as what you would find on an 1894. This has a very plain steel butt pad, and the bluing finish on this gun is not as deep as an 1894. You can see that front barrel band there is pretty cheesy stamped steel that's just screwed on. Overall, though, everything about this gun, fit and function, is exactly the same as the Winchester 1894. I believe the stock and the foregrip on this is made out of American walnut. You can see this particular model has a bunch of scratches and dings in it, which just adds character to the gun. Again, you can see the bluing here, how it does have some spots that look like they're rusting through. However, it's not really rust, it's just wear. The barrel on this rifle, I believe, is 20 inches long, and it has your standard buckhorn rear sight and a blade front sight. The top of the receiver and the barrel both have an SP proof mark stamped in them. I have no idea what that means. If anybody has any idea, please let me know. Now, while this gun is long used for hunting, there'll be FUDs out there that'll tell you that they could shoot this thing at 400 yards and hit a dime off the butt of a goat or something like that. For me, realistically, I can shoot really well with this gun at 50 to 100 yards. Anything much beyond that, and the sights just become kind of a blur. The action on this gun is a little bit rough, to say the least, and it's mainly because there are so many moving parts to make this action work. As you see here, when I'm cycling the action on this gun, you can actually see how chunky it is. I mean, it looks smooth in the video, but when you're actually feeling it, it's pretty chunky. It does have a half-cock safety on the hammer that will not allow the hammer to fall until you cock it fully, and then you can pull the trigger again. This has a side loading gate on it, so all of the .30-30 Winchester rounds get pushed into the side loading gate, and you're supposed to push them in about halfway so that the rim is just sticking out, and then push the next round in. Again, this has a top ejection port on it, so as you're racking that action back and forth, the rounds are going to be popping straight out of this gun. So they did make a mount for this that you could put a scope on the top of it, but most of the time the scope would have to be offset to the side, and it's a little bit weird, especially being a right-handed shooter. So for me, I'm just going to keep this one as it is in its purest fashion, just as it came out of the factory. The only thing I've really done to this gun since I bought it, besides shooting it, was to put some paracord on the lever, because when I was racking the lever open and closed, mainly when I'm opening it, it actually bit into my fingers a little bit, and if I put quite a few rounds through this thing on a range trip, my fingers would hurt pretty bad by the time I was done. A lot of people complain about the .30-30 caliber, mainly because in a gun like this that's really lightweight, that just has a steel butt plate, it can be a little brutal to shoot, but it really isn't that bad. So why did I really want this gun? Well, mainly because I love lever actions, and when I purchased this, it was about $150 cheaper than the least expensive Winchester 1894 or Marlin that I could find at the time. So to be able to get a very similar action gun in .30-30 that functioned well, for me, was a great deal.